going to be an exciting time in the city of New Orleans, and we want you to be a part of it. If you have a book, an event, or a business that you would like to promote right here on Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions, contact us at www.mtwimagesolutions.com or info@mtwimagesolutions.com. See you there. The New Orleans Saints are back, y'all, and while the city is in a football state of mind, Meet the World Image Solutions is ready to take you on the road. Join us December 20th through the 23rd when we hit not one, but two cities. First, we're going to roll into Memphis, where we're going to hit Beale Street, Stax Records, and the Lorraine Hotel. And then we're going into Nashville, where we're going to have a few more surprises for you right before we watch our New Orleans Saints run right over the Tennessee Titans. We're talking luxury bus. We're talking 4-star hotel, gift bags. You do not want to miss this. So if you need more information, contact us at 504-505-5894. That's 504-505-5894. See you there.
Hi, I'm James C. Simmons Jr., candidate for State Representative, District 83, and you're watching Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions.
This program does not reflect the views and opinions of the New Orleans Talk Network. Viewer discretion is advised.
The year 2019 is going to be an exciting time in the city of New Orleans.
My head's behind my
Okay, no, we can. Yeah, let's see. Move over a little bit.
come closer to me.
Hey, y'all. We're adjusting here. Don't mind us. Okay, we're back. Hey, y'all. This is your girl, Dr. Rhonda M Lawson, and I am back in the studio. And you might see someone sitting next to me who might be a little bit of a familiar face. This is Pastor, Associate Pastor.
James.
No, I gotta give the titles.
I have a lot of titles.
I know.
I do have a lot of titles. Oh my God, I have a lot of titles.
Okay, so this is Minister James C. Simmons, who is running for Louisiana State Representative, District 83. Yes. I've been talking to so many people.
I know.
I almost said 87, but that's Rodney Lyons.
Yeah,
I don't want to get you in trouble.
My close and dear friend Rodney. Yes. Yes, please vote for Rodney Lyons.
Yes. But we're here to talk about you.
Yes.
Okay, so Minister Simmons, Candidate Simmons.
There you go.
And how many more titles you have?
I have several. I've done a
Officer
lot.
Simmons.
Captain
Captain
Sergeant,
Simmons.
Lieutenant, Elder, Pastor. Yeah, I've had a lot of different titles.
But that's a good thing, though.
It is.
It means that you have really been around, and it's a great segue into what we're about to talk about. Is just telling the people a little bit about yourself. I mean, we said that you have a lot of titles, and we're saying it jokingly, but you actually have done a lot in the city.
Yes, I have. I've actually, and I look at it as a blessing. I don't look at it as, a burden. I've just been fortunate enough to where I've truly been involved in this community all of my adult life. Even again, not even just as an adult, but even as a child growing up. I've been very fortunate again to have a father that was so ingrained in this community, and he just made sure that all of his children were involved as well. I found myself at the age of 6, 7, and 8, rolling up hoses, while my dad was a volunteer firefighter for 20 plus years. And it just taught me and taught my sisters of, the importance of, being civic minded.
Yes.
And I just took that and I ran with it. Where at the age of 18, I joined the United States Air Force and the Louisiana Air National Guard, and I've been literally serving ever since. When the opportunity presented itself for for me to run for state representative here in District 83, I just saw this as an extension of my service.
Yes.
I don't see this as anything that I can look at and say what is it in it for James. Again, I've been serving my entire life, and I just look at this as an extension of my service or something that I've been prepared to do.
Now, and saying that, when you first came on the show, you came on the show about a month or so ago,
Hmm.
and when you came on, you had just started campaigning. You had just announced your candidacy, I believe.
Actually, we started April
Hmm.
13th.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
we have been in it a
So
while.
that was
Yeah,
even further down.
yeah, we have been in it a
Okay, but
while.
now you're in the thick of it, and you're about a little bit more than a week out from the actual
12 days.
election day.
12 days away.
Yes, and we're already in early voting right now.
Yes.
So how's this experience been for you?
I have to say that it has actually been just that. It's been an experience. It's been a blessing. We've literally knocked on, you know, uh, thousands of doors. We've knocked on so many doors. And for me, being able to knock on so many doors, it's amazing because I have people that's on my team. They always tease me because they say that I can talk,
Mhm.
but my way of talking to them is a more way of me getting the information out of people to determine what their needs are.
Yes.
Because it's so important to know this is not about me. This is about a community at which I love. So my goal is just to be able to take my experiences, my education, um, and my professional and personal experiences, and take it and bring it to Baton Rouge so I can do what's best for the people in this community. Again, it's not about me. Again, we've talked to so many people, and just for me to be able to interact with those in this community is what I believe that to be the most important thing. I roll up on people just to say hello, and they know who I am already
Right,
because of
right.
my involvement in the community.
And that's what I was about to say. You just said that you want to represent a community that you love. And one of the reasons why you love this community so much is because you grew up in this community.
I grew up in this community. The house I live in right now, I've been in that house 28 years. I've been a part of that subdivision in Westminster for 28 years. My mom still lives in our family home in Avondale and Kennedy Heights, and she's been there 54 years.
Wow.
So my family's been ingrained in this community, our whole life. So this is where we actually planted roots. We didn't move around. I moved around a little bit in the military early in my career, but this is where I've planted, and this is where I plan to continue to grow roots. I don't plan on going anywhere, and this is where I plan to again be more involved in my community from a political perspective.
Now, having grown up in this community and having still living in this
Hmm.
community, what are some of the challenges that you feel that this community faces? And when we're talking about this community, we're talking about District 83.
Hmm.
And before you go into the challenges, do you want to explain what District 83 encompasses?
Okay, for those of you to understand, District 83 it's a very gerrymandered district. It is, but it's a very
Mm.
large as it relates to landmass, a very large district. It begins at on the west side of Ames Boulevard to Barataria, and it goes all the way over to Wagaman, about 43,000 people.
Now, people who are visiting New Orleans may not be familiar with this district because most people who visit New Orleans,
Sure.
let's face it, they'll stay in the central business
Hmm.
district. But District 83 is actually still very important to the city.
Oh, it is. Matter of fact, there's actually, believe it or not, just looking at the numbers, that just in certain parts of Marrero alone, they've seen some growth in
Mm.
home ownership, about 5% in home ownership, and we just want to make sure that we can expand that home ownership, not just to Marrero, across the entire district. Probably one of the fastest growing communities in District 83 is the Wagaman area, where we actually see a lot of brand new homes coming up in the Wagaman area. So we just want to make sure that one of the things that we want to do is not only just people to understand that this is a great place to work and a great place to play, but that District 83 is going to be a great place for you to live as well.
Absolutely. And
Mhm.
which is a very, very good point because with so many things going on in New Orleans with real estate taxes
That's
going
right.
up, home ownership is getting more difficult because
Mhm.
houses that used to sell for less than $100,000 are now selling for
Yes,
two or three hundred thousand
that's
dollars
right.
in certain areas.
Hmm.
So for home ownership to be growing in your district, that does make it very important because you may have people who said they never wanted to leave Orleans Parish, and because they grew up there and they work there, they may now be coming into your district to live while they're still working in New Orleans. So you have these partnerships now going.
That's right.
With these different districts having to work together now because you're basically sharing many people.
Yes, and one of the things that we believe that's going to actually draw more people over, if I've had some meetings, I have lots of meetings over the past 3 or 4 months. Is one of the things that we have been able to get ingrained in is allowing some state and federal dollars to be able to come where people can renovate their homes. We know that part has already been established in certain parts of Jefferson Parish. I've literally been able to have a conversation with someone that has been explaining to me that if the opportunity presents itself for me to represent this district, that we can have the same thing happen here in District 83. Some of the oldest homes that we have in Jefferson Parish are in District 83. So basically, we want to be able to put it in a position, or a perspective rather, to where home ownership don't necessarily have to be new homes, that we can renovate some of the homes that we do have here and continue to put those in commerce where people can come and come to District 83 to live, work, and play. So we believe that just through some of those partnerships, being able to do that, we're going to be very successful here. I believe there are great things in store for District 83 over the next coming few years.
Oh, and that's awesome because, like I said, the city. I remember growing up, living in Orleans Parish. If we said we were going across the river, that was like a whole different town. Like, oh, we going way across the river. Everything was way across. You thought we were driving to Texas or something.
Yes.
But the city is just starting to seem so much smaller now because we're actually, we may work in one parish and we live in another parish.
Sure.
We might hang out in another parish.
That's right.
So it's very important that, everything that you're doing in your district, other people can still benefit from it.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I believe that we can do better at in Jefferson Parish is to be able to market the parish.
Yes.
To where people can understand that it's not way over there. You and I both know that, if you've lived in different cities, if you lived in Dallas, Houston, Atlanta, that that this is actually logistically a very small place to live. If we could remove that stigma that we when I was with the sheriff's office, we always said that the river does not divide the parish.
Yes.
That we have to make sure that the river does not divide the parish, or the river does not divide what happens and transpires in New Orleans, what transpires as it relates to Jefferson Parish. If we can remove that stigma and look at it as a greater New Orleans area, I think we'll benefit. It'll be beneficial for Jefferson Parish and for Orleans Parish as well.
Wonderful. Now we're going to take a quick break because we're already at the first commercial break. We didn't really get into the nitty gritty just yet. Yeah. We're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the issues that he feels that District 83 faces. You've been doing a lot of campaigning and a lot of canvassing, and you've actually had the benefit of actually talking face to face with many people.
Lots of people.
And I would love to hear some of the issues that they see that you may be taking to Baton Rouge with you.
Absolutely.
So we'll be right back, and James C. Simmons will still be here. Yes. And in the meantime, if you have a question that you'd like to ask him yourself, make sure you give us a call. That would be area code 563-999-1808. Or if you're too shy and you don't want to call in, you can always comment your question underneath the video, and we will answer your questions right on the air. But until then, go ahead and like the show, share, comment, and subscribe, and we'll be right back. Dr. Rhonda M Lawson, and I'm coming back at you with the new year of Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions. And this year, we're moving to Monday night with brand new exciting guests and engaging literary conversation. And we want our listening audience to be there with us, because this is going to be a year you will not forget. Catch us every Monday night, 7 p.m., right here on the New Orleans Talk Network. And you can also reach us on the Meet the World Image Solutions Facebook page, the Meet the World Image Solutions YouTube page, and we're on Podbean, iTunes, and Google Play. So catch us every Monday night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. See you there.
So I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows. And look, I just need everybody, if you know anybody from the west side of Ames all the way to Wagner, tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody. Because that's going to be the only way we're going to win this campaign. Because just after the last election, African Americans voted at 19%, which means we literally stayed home. So we can't stay home. None of us can stay home. We need to vote. We need to make sure everybody else knows to vote too, because again, it's going to probably take, I'm believing it's going to take 6,000 votes for me to win this campaign. So I'm going to need 6,000 people to go out and believe and trust that I'm going to be able to take this district forward. There's so much left in store for District 83 from Marrero, again, all the way to Wagaman. So I'm just thanking God for people that can trust me, that I can go out there and do a great job in Baton Rouge. I believe that I've been prepared for this time. I believe I've been prepared for this season. So I'm taking it very seriously. So I just need everybody to help for us to make it happen. Again, we cannot do it without you. I want to thank everybody that has helped with this campaign thus far.
And we're back. Girl, Dr. Rhonda M Lawson, and I am speaking with James C. Simmons, candidate for Louisiana State Representative District 83. All right, I enjoyed watching that clip, and you hit on something that's very important. Just this past weekend, I went to the Louisiana Empowerment and Policy Conference that took place over at the Hyatt Regency Hotel, and Bakari Sellers and Angela Rye were there, and they really talked about the importance of getting out to vote. And Bakari Sellers made this statement. He said, you actually had a choice. You know, you had Hillary, you had Donald Trump, and then you had the couch. And he said, in this campaign, the couch won.
Yes.
Because so many people stayed home.
Yes.
So, but another thing he said was that many times that we as candidates, he was speaking of himself as a candidate because he's planning on running again. But
Fraternity brother, man.
yes.
Yes.
But he mentioned that we're not inspiring people
Yes.
to want to get out and vote. So what do you have to do to inspire people to want to vote?
You know, it's funny because, you know, it goes without saying that that I have a desire to be the next state representative for District 83, and I thank God for all of those that have been supporting my campaign, the endorsement that I have. I'm very fortunate enough to have Mr. Robert Billiard, who actually is the incumbent for this seat, actually endorsing me and supporting me in this campaign. And one of the things that he and I spoke about, had a conversation about this, is that it's not just about getting people to vote for me. It is also putting people in a position to understand that voting is something that we should not be waiting to do every 4 years. That it has to be something that we have to get involved what is going on in our communities. It can't be one person. It can't be one man to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to run for office. And oftentimes people ask me all the time, what are you going to do for me when you get to Baton Rouge? I always say, represent you.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I'm going to represent you. I have a vast understanding of everything that's going to transpire at the legislative level, because it's my background has put me in a position to do that. But what happens is that my job is to represent the people in this district to a point where they can believe that their voices are being heard.
Yes.
And once you put people in a position to believe that their voices are going to be heard, they'll be more apt to vote. Not just in every other election cycle, but every election cycle.
But how do I know that my voice is being heard?
Well, I believe that I believe your voice is going to be heard when you see the fruits of your labor. One of the things I always say, that I know that I can't please everybody, but I can represent everybody.
Yes.
And so, if at any point that you can say that, you know what, that's my representative. When you look at the
Mm-hmm.
TV screen and you say that's my representative, and that you can feel as if that your voice is being heard, and that the matters, the issues and the cares and concerns that involve your community,
Yes.
that the needle is being moved in
Yes.
your community. So when you begin to see those things happen, when you begin to see your roads being better, when you begin to see economic development in your communities, then you can know that that needle is being moved. And
Yes.
so my goal isn't just to simply, of course, my goal is to win this election. However, but my goal is also to inspire people to get involved in their communities. That's going to be the key. That's what my father taught me. Was just the son to get involved. And I used to always say, but then why? He used to always say, because people need help, son. and
Yes.
and and that is the shoulders of which I'm standing on, to be able to help people in this community.
Now, speaking of that, you've actually gotten to go out and talk to many people
Yes.
in your community because you spend all day. Now, I know I was making fun of you earlier. I said, you're going to start being fun again after you win this election.
And I can actually be canvassing right now. I can be honest. I can
Exactly.
be knocking on doors right now. I can be.
But that's what you've been doing. You've actually physically been knocking on
Yes.
doors. What are some of the things that people are telling you?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I've talked to so many people, and believe it or not, after I finish talking to people, what I do, I go back to the office and I just take all these notes, and
Hmm.
I'm actually like in my third or fourth journal, because I want to write these things down to determine exactly to make what they believe that needs to be done in Baton Rouge, not just simply what I believe that needs to be done. I met a lady, an amazing lady. She's 83 years old. I will never forget her name. And never forget her name. Her last name was Miss Lucille. Miss Lucille was, she had her own nursery for 38 years.
Wow.
She was a diabetic. She's actually getting kidney dialysis. She had one leg, and I noticed and I witnessed and actually helped her niece push her wheelchair into a makeshift van using two by fours,
Mm.
and they were strapping the wheelchair down inside this makeshift van. And as I began to talk to her, and I was explaining to her, I said, we as a state have to give you the opportunity to give you a ride to your dialysis uh, visits. And she said that the state would not give her a ride.
Mm.
And I said, well, why wouldn't they give it? Because she said, because my doctor has said that I have to go at night because it's so long. And I said, well, that's something that we have to fix.
Yes.
We have to fix these things. Or I spoke to someone earlier, uh, just earlier this last week, late last week, to where, and she was just explaining to me that there's a puddle of water next to her house that's been there forever. And she said, if I just knew what to do to be able to get that done. And I mean, I literally have hundreds of information like that regarding the people that have certain needs in this community. We've done great things um, over the past 12 years, but I believe that there's always more to be done. And again, not for me, but for the people in this community who have needs that need to be met.
Absolutely. Now, one of the things, as a state representative, some people may wind up getting your duties mixed up with that
Hmm.
of their council person.
Yes.
So, but there is a relationship between the council person and the state representative.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Because in District 83, we do have the city of West Wego, and the city of West Wego is a 100-year-old city. Of course, it has its own needs. But what happens is when you have the cities like Marrero and Avondale and Bridge City and Waggaman, they have their own individual needs as well. So you work along with the parish, Jefferson Parish, to combine your resources to ensure that their needs have to be met as well. Of course, Jefferson Parish and the cities other than the city of West Wego are going to be responsible for your drainage and things of that
Mhm.
nature. But there's other things, infrastructure issues that the state representative or at the state level can assist to make sure those things happen and those things get done as well. Anywhere from state road lighting, anything from again from our healthcare issues. I'm a big supporter of course, of John Bell Edwards, who was instrumental in getting 485,000 people healthcare this year, and I look at that as a way that lives were saved. We look at it as if someone just simply had getting health insurance, but there's someone who had health insurance who didn't have health insurance
Absolutely.
that's possibly alive today.
Absolutely. And that's amazing. That's an amazing thought. I mean, a lot of times we do take it lightly, but when you really sit back and just feel the levity of that situation, I mean, it could be life changing or life saving for some people.
And that was very personal for me. Most people don't know that I'm a widow. I lost my wife at a very young age to cancer, and I'm grateful and I'm blessed to where the fact that I was active duty military to where I had the insurance uh, that a lot of the bills that we were occurred were being taken care of.
Right.
If not, I would have had, believe it or not, $1.7 million worth of medical bills.
Wow.
And that's life changing. I don't. You can have a 900 credit score. If you wake up one day with
Right.
$1.7 million worth of medical bills, that's going to change your life drastically. But so imagine if there are people right now in our communities who did not have the level of insurance that I have had, or to where they wake up one day and they had $500,000, $800,000 worth of medical bills for something that wasn't due to their own. Nobody desires to have cancer.
Absolutely.
It's just something that you believe genetically that just happens.
Mhm.
And we found ourselves really fighting, not only through all the minutia of the insurance, but just fighting for her life. So these are things that when it comes down to people that I could talk to about fighting to ensure that we keep our health care
Yes.
here in Louisiana, it's personal for me. I've actually had a friend of mine um, who's a retired police officer as well, retired from law enforcement, who had $800 a month worth of insurance. We got the Medicaid expansion here with from $800 a month to $125, and after that, found out that he has stomach cancer. I mean, so these are things that are personal
Yes.
to me. These are things that you think about, that you know and understand through just from living long enough
And this
that
is
you could take the Baton Rouge.
and this is actually just about to say that this is actually one of the torches that you plan to take to
Exactly,
Baton Rouge.
exactly. Because from my perspective, that life perspective is key. Is key when you're representing people. Those things are very important when you want to go and stand for people to be able to make sure that they have their needs met.
Absolutely. Well, unfortunately, it's time to take another break already. I don't know how this time goes by so fast.
Wow.
So we're gonna take this quick break, and when we get back,
Mhm.
I'd like you talked a bit about health, but I want to get into education. Education
Yes.
is a really big hot
Yes.
button topic right now,
Yes.
and so we're gonna talk a little bit about that. So I want you guys to stay right there. Make sure you're sharing this show with a friend. I know you know somebody who lives in Jefferson Parish who needs to see this. So let's make sure that they are able to watch the show. So don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And we will be right back.
I just wanted to make sure that we just wanted to have this campaign kick off because it's so important. But because most people don't understand, even when you are jumping into the political realm, that it's not something that you do by yourself. It is not something that you make an attempt to do by yourself. So I just wanted to make sure that I had something like this, not just to celebrate me, but to celebrate those that have been supporting me since I've made this decision to run for state representative.
Hi, this is Melanie Pichon. I'm inviting you to vote for not only my covenant brother, but my friend James Simmons Jr., District 83. He is a man of commitment. He has been committed to our country as he served in the United States Air Force, but he has a heart for God's people, all racial backgrounds, all ethnicities. He's ready to get the job done. Again, this is Evangelist Melanie Pichon, and I'm with JC. Love ya.
The New Orleans Saints are back, y'all. And while the city is in a football state of mind, Meet the World Image Solutions is ready to take you on the road. Join us December 20th through the 23rd when we hit not one, but two cities. First, we're going to roll into Memphis, where we're going to hit Beale Street, Stax Records, and the Lorraine Hotel. And then we're going into Nashville, where we're going to have a few more surprises for you right before we watch our New Orleans Saints run right over the Tennessee Titans. We're talking luxury bus. We're talking 4-star hotel, gift bags. You do not want to miss this. So if you need more information, contact us at 504-505-5600. 5894. That's 504-505-5894. See you there.
I'm glad. I'm like, man.
All right, we are back. This is your girl, Dr. Rhonda M Lawson, and I'm sitting here speaking with James C. Simmons, candidate for Louisiana State Representative District 83.
Yes.
And we were just talking about why healthcare is such an important issue for you.
Yeah.
And I can understand why it is. I mean,
Yes.
that's a lot. And then you meet people every day when you go knocking on doors who probably have some of these similar issues.
Absolutely. I mean, it's one of the things that, that if there's a bright spot about campaigning and running for office is my desire and my appreciation to just to talk to people.
Yes.
My mom always said that I've never met a stranger, because I literally enjoy talking to people,
Mhm.
so I can actually have a conversation with you and understand exactly what your needs are. You can call it a gift, I guess. But I enjoy talking to just everyday regular people, anywhere from the supermarket to again knocking on their doors.
Yes.
Um,
Hallelujah.
and so many times I've heard people just simply say, you're going to get my vote because you asked for it. Even before I had a chance to give them what we call
And
our
that's
stump
that's
speech.
huge for a lot of people because
It
there
is.
are people out there who are in office right now. I'm not going to say names, but they've been in office so long that they are comfortable,
Yeah.
and they don't even seem to campaign for reelection because they know they're going to get the vote.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and it means a lot when somebody says, "I would like to have your vote," because now this
Yes.
person, I feel like this person
Yes.
respects me enough to understand what my issues are.
Yes. Yeah. Matter of fact, believe it or not, I've actually had people when I talk to them. I said, "Well, let me, if you don't mind, I would love to be able to tell you a little about who I am, about why I'm running, and why me running for this office is so important." And they'll be like, "No, no, 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 I'm good. You got." I'm like, "But I want you to be able to know.
Right.
I want you to be able to know
And
that.
so if somebody says, "Why are you voting for Simmons?"
That's
They
right.
can exactly tell you
That's
why.
right. That's right. Because one of the things that again, it's important that and I feel so deeply about this is that when you see me, that you'll be able to say,
Hmm.
that's my representative, and and that you can look at it and say that this is somebody that you believe, that you can one trust, that you believe that they have the integrity, and they're committed. One
Hmm.
of the things that that's I'm very fortunate enough to be able to run for this office because I have the opportunity to be a full time, part time state representative. I'm retired military, so this would be my full time job. I don't have any second jobs other than finishing this degree 2 classes away from finishing his doctorate.
Yes.
And other than that, this would be my full time. The people of District 83 will get 100% of my time. Again, I'm very fortunate. Again, my daughter, she's 22 years old. She has her own place. She's about to graduate with a double major,
Oh,
biology, chemistry,
wow.
and she's got her own thing. And I'm a widow, so this will be 100% of my time. It always has been since I was 18 years old, and it's just going to continue to be so.
Wonderful,
Yeah,
wonderful. Now, I did want to jump into education. We promised them that we talk about
we did.
education.
Hmm.
Is that one of the issues that people are talking to you about as you're going door to door?
Yeah, believe it or not, it's huge here in Louisiana, particularly in District 83, because we do live in one of the poorest districts in all of Jefferson Parish. 29.9% of the individuals that live in this particular district live below the poverty line. So there are a lot of mothers out there that need a lot of help.
Yes.
But we're just very grateful, of course, to Governor John Bell Edwards and the money that he was able to put forth for increasing pay for teachers, for our administrators. But at the same time, though, he was also able to get 3,700 children off of the waiting list for early childhood education. But we have to increase that number because it is still, 10,000 still left. And if you think about it, there's probably a lot more about for those that don't even know or weren't even aware that there was a waiting list.
Yes.
So we still have to make sure that we get those other 10,000 kids off that waiting list for early childhood education. We only spend 1/10 of 1% of our general fund into early childhood education. one of the things that if legislation isn't put forth, but what will happen, a study will be done by me that to determine how do we increase that those dollars out of our general fund to go toward our early childhood education. And and I say that because it's so important because it actually can be translated into a safety issue, a public safety issue, because 77% of our children that do not graduate from high school go to prison. So if we
Yes.
can keep them in school, then we can lower the numbers of individuals who don't graduate from high school,
Right.
who don't go to prison.
And I'm glad you mentioned that. First of all, you talked about early childhood education. If you get a child interested in learning at a young age, that's something that they're going to keep as they get
Absolutely.
older. And then, yes, it does wind up reducing the dropout level, which
Hmm.
does wind up reducing the amount of people who
Yep,
go to jail.
that's right. That's right.
So,
That's right.
because I really believe that I'm not going to say 100%, but a lot of the crime that happens, especially in our city, is because people are living below the poverty
Oh
level.
yeah, well yeah. I mean, yeah, and that is a true statement. Because a lot of what we do, as it relates to individuals not going to school, or actually going into crime, because if you look at those numbers, and that's again part of my dissertation, is looking at that. When you look at those numbers, the numbers of individuals who actually find themselves in crime or find themselves
Mhm.
in jail or in prison, literally have or individuals who literally have no educational background. So you want to make sure that if you could keep them in school, they're least likely, of course, to go to prison. So we
Right.
have to make sure that we make that that will be key. That will be one of the number one things outside of seniors. That will be something that I'm going to spend most of my time with once I get to the state house.
Wow, that's going to be huge. What we have here in New Orleans, we have a lot of public schools, but
Hmm.
we also have a lot of private schools,
Hmm.
and a lot of us are sending our kids to private schools because we don't want to send them to public schools because we feel like the public schools are not teaching up to par.
Hmm.
But instead of steering our kids away from these public schools,
Hmm.
we need that funding to help make these schools better.
That's right. That's right. But just think about it. Right here in District 83, Patrick Taylor, um, Science School, Science and Technology School, and also Thomas Jefferson are both two schools that just
Hmm.
wound up on the Blue Ribbon School for state of Louisiana. So we do have great schools in District
Yes.
83, particularly those in Jefferson Parish that are doing great things. We just need to make sure that we get that information out to people.
Well, we do have a caller on the line. Caller,
Talk
are
to
you
me.
there? Hello, caller.
Hello, hello, I'm here.
Hi, how are you? Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, yeah, I'm fantastic. How you guys?
Doing
Wonderful.
good. Doing good.
So, what's your
Awesome,
question?
awesome. Hey, I wanted to ask Mr. Simmons, the little bit that I have seen or read or heard, it says that he is a newcomer to politics. This would be his first time in a position of elected office. So, what first thing comes to mind is what is the Mr. Simmons' background, educationally, militarily, otherwise, that suggests that we'd be making the right choice for Representative of District 83 in choosing him.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. For me, I am a graduate of L.W. Higgins High School, proud graduate of L.W. Higgins High School. I have a undergraduate degree in public administration with a concentration in governmental studies. I have a master's in psychology from Tulane University, and currently I am working on a doctorate in public administration with a concentration in public policy. And also, um, I guess one of the great things is that on October 15th, I've been accepted into Harvard Kennedy School for public policy. I start my first course on that on October 15th. So 3 days after the election, I start those courses. So yeah, as far as my education, um, public policy and governmental studies and public policy is my background. So being able to go to Baton Rouge and understand capital outlay, budget expenditures, I've actually used and facilitated more than $150 million on the state level as a member of the Louisiana Air National Guard. That was my primary job. So I was able to use a lot of understanding of how to get those monies from the federal government, and also how to expend them right here in the state. So that's my education. Oh, I'm sorry. I also have an associate's degree.
It's a lot of education.
Yeah, I do have an associate's degree in human resource management. So yeah, I actually have I'm working on my fourth college degree.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, not just education wise, but you've actually gotten a couple of endorsements.
Yeah. I'm very fortunate. I love it because most of the endorsements are individuals just from this community who have supported me. Of course, I'm so excited that Mr. Robert Billiard, he is actually the current state representative for District 83. He's been supporting me from the very beginning. Chief Munch, the chief of West Wego, Chief Lawson, Senator-elect Pat Connick. I can go on and on and on about the people that have actually supported me in this campaign. Sheriff Joe LaPinto, the Gambit, Louisiana Weekly as of today. So there's a lot of people that's really standing behind me that really has a lot of trust in me to go to Baton Rouge.
And do you think the key to that is because you've been able to really tap into what people are most concerned about because you've gone door to door?
No, I think a lot of that is basically because people know who I am and they know what I've done. I think that even though that this is my first time running for office, most people ask me, well, why is this your first time? Because up until September of 2016, I was active duty Air Force, and of course I couldn't. And then, of course, I was a reserve captain with the Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office, so I was already in public service. Again, so me running for this office is just an extension of my public service. So those that are those individuals and those organizations that are trusting me to go to Baton Rouge are those that know me as an individual, but they're also those that know me and my character. So I'm glad that they have gotten that support. But I'm doing this for the people of Jefferson Parish who I've worked with and served with. I've spent 27 days. Hurricane Katrina spent 27 days outside at the Ilaria Center and been involved in every emergency in Jefferson Parish over the last 25 years. So this is not something that is new to me. This is something that again is just a continuation of the service that I've given for Jefferson Parish.
Wonderful. Well, if you'd like to call in, we still have some more time on the show. We have about another 15 minutes on the show. We can see it goes fast, and you were like an hour.
I really was. I was like an hour. I don't think I had that much to say. People on my team would be like, James, you can talk an hour. We know you can talk an hour.
Yeah, I know you can talk an hour. So if you would like to call in, the phone number is 563-999-1808. You can either call in, or if you're too shy, but you still want to get a question in, you can always comment underneath the video, and we will read your questions on the air.
Thank you. Yep.
All right, but in the meantime, we're going to take our last break of the hour, and when we get back, we touched on it a little bit, but I'd like to talk about crime. That's always a really important subject to people. So we're gonna get back into that. So this is your girl, Dr. Rhonda M Lawson. I'm sitting here with Mr. James C. Simmons, candidate for Louisiana State Representative, District 83. So don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and we will be right back.
Celebrate, you're going to believe and trust God, because this is, I'm on an assignment. This is not something that I'm taking upon myself. I've been a part of a legacy that has loved this community for so long. So I just decided to just pick up that mantle that has been left behind for me.
James, I just want you to know I support you. I'm with you 100%, and I know that you're going to do a great job as the next state representative.
Hey, I wish you the best of luck, man. I look at your mottos: community, integrity, service, and honor. Those are the same values you learned in the military, and I know you're going to take District 83 and serve them as you serve the military, and I'm really, really proud of you, man. Really proud of you.
How you guys making out? My name is Rashid Salahuddin. That's my guy, James Simmons. I love his energy, his enthusiasm, his excitement level. And so he's always charged up, pumped up, and ready to get the job done. So I highly recommend James C. Simmons for State Rep District 83. And he's representing the neighborhood that I grew up in as part of the district. So I'm extra excited about that.
Hi, I'm James C. Simmons Jr., candidate for State Representative, District 83, and you're watching Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions.
This program does not reflect the views.
Okay, and we're back. This is your girl, Dr. Rhonda M Lawson. I am sitting here having a very lively conversation with James C. Simmons, candidate for Louisiana State Representative, District 83. So before we went to break, we were talking a bit about just about education. We talked a bit about real estate. We talked a little about healthcare. Yeah, so we wanted to also talk about crime.
Mm-hmm. And that's so key because, of course, I spent almost 30 years in law enforcement as well. I was very fortunate enough under Sheriff New Norman and Sheriff Joe Lapinto, of course, Sheriff Harry Lee, to make it to the rank of captain. And as a district commander, reserve district commander, you talk to a lot of people. And one of the things that I always tell people is that when you are running for office, you find yourself going to these civic association meetings. This is something that I did for 10 years as a district commander. I did that every month for 10 years for maybe I think 7 or 8 different civic associations.
Oh, wait, we have another caller.
Oh, we do have another caller. Okay.
Yes. Caller, are you there?
Hello.
Hi.
Yes, I am. Hi, can you hear me?
We hear you.
Hey, I had a call for the candidate Simmons for 83.
Hi. Okay.
And I wanted to, and first of all, thanks for taking my call. Appreciate it.
Oh, well, thank you for calling in.
Listen, we wanted to know about crime cameras in the legislation in Jefferson Parish, getting new laws on the books so that Jefferson Parish can possibly get crime cameras and stuff like that installed into their department. Speaking with Sheriff Lapinto, he said there's some, miscellaneous footage that he has to hold on to and stuff like that, and he felt as though it wasn't worth it. So I was just calling to see if Mr. Simmons could work with different representatives in the parish and the surrounding areas to see if we can possibly get the legislation changed so by law that they won't have to hold miscellaneous footage and get rid of it quicker and make it more cost efficient for the department to have. And I'm not sure if it's a fair question, but if Mr. Simmons, if you can answer it, we'll appreciate it.
Oh yeah, I mean, as it relates to the crime cameras, I do know that is something that have been brought up with the sheriff as it relates to 2 different types of crime cameras. The ones that are actually in the communities, like they have in New Orleans, but also as far as the cameras that are being worn by police officers. One of the things that I think initially with the sheriff about why they weren't able to do that because of the cost effectiveness of it. I think that I guess it's safe to assume that if the opportunity presents itself from a state level to be able to assist them with purchasing those cameras would be something that I would be in support of if they desire to have those the body cameras for that. From what I understand, actually, I did have a conversation a year ago when New Orleans first came and brought on board their crime cameras to be able to see about something like that happening and being used in here in Jefferson Parish. But if you know anything about the crime camera program in Orleans Parish, that is actually an entire organization where it actually has 50 or 60 individuals that actually work that monitor those cameras all over the city 24 hours a day. So for us to be able to do that would be something that we would have to try to legislate to make sure that we can find the funding to be able to push down to Jefferson Parish to do that. One of the things that I will say that I will do my best to make sure that every dollar that we can get from the state to bring down District 83, that is going to be my number one issue, is to bring all the funding that we can from the state to District 83.
And I was
for
actually
issues like that.
And I was actually going to ask you that in order to fund a program like this, sometimes it winds up having to come from, let's say, another pot of money. Mm-hmm. And what we want to make sure, things that really affect your community don't suffer because you're trying to fund the crime cameras.
Yeah. And grants, like I said, federal grants Writing federal grants is my background as well. So understanding how to get federal dollars, writing procedures, policies, and directives to get federal dollars to the district is a part of something that I've done in my background as well. It can not just be the money that we have, because the money that we have in the state for your district is limited. So what we have to do is find other avenues, whether it can be what they call P2, private to public partnerships to get those things done. But it also can be a way of getting those dollars from the federal government as well. So we just have to make sure that we actually write the right way and ask the right questions to get it done.
Wonderful.
So I believe that is something that we can get done wholeheartedly, easily. Hopefully, I answered the caller's question.
Yeah, I think you did, but you know what? Only he knows what was going on.
Because crime is important to me. Of course, after 29 and a half years in law enforcement, crime is very important to me.
Yeah, and then that was one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about as well, is because coming from a law enforcement background, you probably know better than other people. You know the nuts and bolts, and you know everything that goes into preventing crime, fighting crime in your community, and you may know it better than somebody who just has an idea of what to do.
As district commander, my first 3 years, we were able to reduce crime. Even as a reserve commander, we were able to reduce crime in our district by 47% within the first 2.5 years.
Now, did that come from putting more police on the street?
That's come from putting more police officers on the street. We created what we call a task force to where we were actually having individuals on the street, and not only having them on the street, but having them on the street at the right time, doing the right thing. So we were able to reduce crime my first 2.5 years by 47%.
That's a great number.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, along with that, though, by putting more police on the street, you don't want to alienate the community by thinking, okay, now they're putting more police on the street, and we can't do anything in our community now because the police are always right there.
Yes.
So I think a part of that is also a community relations effort as well.
Exactly. So that's what we did. Actually, I would love to be able to say that it was all just the police. It was community partnerships that we had that allowed us to be able to do that. One of the things that we did, we went out at a certain period of time during daylight hours. I would go that I should tell my team is that go and talk to people. Trust me, when people really want to be able to tell you what's going on in their communities.
Right.
We started off where every one of my deputies all had business cards with the phone number of the district on it, to where they would go up to somebody and say, if you hear something that you want me to know, here, my name is Captain James C. Simmons Jr. Here's my telephone number, give me a call. And so we actually got a lot of information that way, and it allowed us to reduce crime. I believe that there are more people that are more happy with what the police officers are doing on the streets than the ones that are not happy with what they're doing. It is still an honorable profession, and it's something that is needed in our communities to make sure that we can keep everybody safe. And I believe I have some of the answers to be able to do that.
Well, unfortunately, we've come to the end of the show.
Already.
I told
I had to
you.
come back, right?
How many times you want to come back?
Got 12 days. I come back at least twice in 12 days.
We have somebody else on the show next week.
All right. Okay.
But no, can you tell people if they want more information, because you've hit on a lot of different subjects tonight.
Yes.
And I'm sure that somebody who might want some more information about you. Where can they find that?
If you want more information, you go straight to my website at www.electjamescsimmonsjr.org. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you're going to see an area that says cares and concerns. I win this election. That is something that's going to remain on my website, because it's going to allow everyone in our community to tell me what their needs, their cares, and their concerns are. And guess what? Once you put your information there, it comes directly to my cell phone in the form of an email.
That is amazing.
So electjamescsimmonsjr.org.
Okay, and they can also find you on Twitter.
Find me on Twitter, on Facebook, Instagram. Elect James C. Simmons Jr. State Rep 83. J.C. Simmons Jr. State Rep 83 is my Twitter. And you can just go to Facebook and type in James C. Simmons Jr. or elect James C. Simmons Jr. If you want to see anything, all the things that we've been doing, not only in the community since beginning of the election, since we've been doing, actually since I've been on Facebook, you can see all that I've done within the community over the last 3, 4, 5 years.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to come back on the show, and hopefully we're able to hit some different areas than the first time.
Yes. Hopefully when we come back, that it'll be after the election, and we'll be
Yes.
able to have a different kind of show. So we'll be able to put platforms and things together tangibly of what we have to do once we get to Baton Rouge.
Absolutely. Now, just as a reminder, early voting has started in the state of Louisiana. So if you want to run out tomorrow and vote for James Simmons,
Number 101 on your ballot.
absolutely. So make sure you get out there and vote. There are a number of different positions that we're voting for, as well as amendments. Make sure you read those amendments as well.
Read them carefully.
Yes. Don't just run in there and vote and get it over with. I'm glad you voted, but we want to make sure that you're armed with all the knowledge that you can before you go into the ballot box. Right?
That's right.
That's right. Okay, so if you have any other questions on James Simmons, all you have to do is visit him, visit his website, go to any of his social media. If you want more information on Horizons or Meet the World Image Solutions, you can find us also on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn.
Yeah, you go to my LinkedIn page as well.
Yes, and look in YouTube.
In YouTube, yes, in my YouTube page.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so don't forget, guys, we have the big football trip coming up in December, and we want you all to be there. So the deadline is passed for the $100 deposit, but if you still want to go on the trip, make sure you contact us and we can get you more information on that. We don't want you to miss this trip because we are going to have a great, great time.
That's right. Who that?
That's right. I mean, and it's the time to do it. I mean, if the Saints are winning without Drew Brees, just think what they're gonna do when you get back.
Hey, great defense, great special teams.
Yes.
Behind a great offense.
Go Bridgewater.
That's right.
Yes. All right. That is all we have for tonight. Thank you for so much for tuning in. Next week we're going to have a candidate for the Board of Education and Secondary Education.
The Bessie Board.
Yeah, the Bessie Board. We're going to have Ms. Shawan Bernard on the show.
Okay,
so we're going to get to know her and find out what her platform is and what her plan is for education in our great city.
I'll be watching.
You going to be watching?
I'll be watching.
All right, don't be out there campaigning. Now. Take a break for an hour.
I'll be watching.
All right. So that's all we have. You guys have a wonderful night and have an awesome rest of the week. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for supporting Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions. And God bless you.